Welcome to StockPulse.com Commodity Brief. We're in mid-May. Gold is acting very well. Equity news certainly picking up. Some news that hit the StockPulse radar. First one up, MacDonald Mines hit the mark with some solid assays from the SPJ project, and they'll resume drilling soon. I caught up with Mia Boiridy, corporate development. She ran through the exciting numbers.
Yes, super excited about those numbers. I mean, what we're trying to do and what we've concentrated on recently is really that north pit area of the Scadding deposit, because we got some extremely high grade gold there. Hole 1 was a phenomenal hole. We had 52 grams per ton over 12 meters, and then a subsequent hole, hole 26, that we released at the end of February was 59 grams per ton over 19 meters, so phenomenal. And they weren't, we weren't twinning and redoing the same hole. The second hole, hole 26, was a good 18 meters away from hole number 1. So we wanted to just keep on trying to figure out how this whole zone kind of behaves. And we were trying to show that there's continuity of the high-grade mineralization, and this is what these latest results show. Of course, it's not high. The results are not as high, but still very good grades. So it is continuous. It seems to be consistent with depth as well, and seems to be open in all directions. So continuing on in 2020, we want to keep on we're in a resource definition kind of phase now. We want to try and figure out just how much gold we have there and what the grade is. So that's the kind of focus. And then we're going to go further afield on the rest of the property, because we have 18,000 hectares. It's quite large. We did some preliminary work in 2018, and we found some polymetallic gold mineralization, so gold with copper, with nickel, with cobalt, with rare earth elements as well, further afield from Scadding. We're going to go and revisit those. So we've done some geophysics, and we've identified some targets. So we'll be doing some kind of prospecting and some trenching in other areas, because we think that this is big. It's not just confined to the Scadding deposit, which is where we're drilling right now. We're drilling there because there was already a working mine that operated in the 1980s in that space that had some good returns, good grades, 7.2 grams per ton. They extracted about 30,000 ounces out of 3 small pits and a small decline. And so that's where we wanted to kind of start and concentrate on and figure out if the high-grade gold was still there, and that's what we've shown. So we're going to define how much gold there is there, kind of define the deposit, but then there's an opportunity to go beyond and to really start poking around on the rest of the property.
As your last release reflects, back drilling in 14 days, huh?
Yeah, so we're well cashed up. We just finished a financing about a month ago. We raised $1 million. We have cash in the coffers to continue on and probably do the rest of the exploration this year, hopefully get some more good results, and then the share price goes up. I mean, right now we're trading at 7.5, 8 cents. It went up to 10 cents on Friday. There was this big run up, which was really exciting. I guess also because people are starting to understand how big this thing could be. We're not just confining it to that small Scadding deposit area. There's huge potential, lots of blue sky.
Certainly appreciate that update from Mia Boiridy. Certainly look forward to checking back when MacDonald has some more news. Then caught up with Allan Barry of the Allan Barry Reports. Here was his take on MacDonald's news.
MacDonald Mines is one I've been watching for a while. They've got a fair bit of stock out, $170 million on that deal, which, can make it kind of difficult to move the stock sometimes. And you can see from the results that they got a really good project. They're stepping out. They've got, for high grade, they've got good continuity. It's open in all directions. They've got regional exploration potential, and they've got past producing operations of high grade gold on the project. And so, that combination is very good. But again, sometimes that share structure can get in the way. I like that they're cashed up. They're going to be drilling soon. They're going not just after their resource definition area, but they're also going after some high-grade exploration in areas where there was past production. I'm not a big fan of juniors getting, early into small resources. I think that could also be part of the issue that keeps it kind of held back a little bit. You know, getting into resource calculations before they have fully drilled it out and defined everything is kind of, it's kind of not my thing. I like to see them get, near the limits of the deposit, then go ahead and do the resource definition. But I think the thing that catalyst that could really help them break out is that drilling soon that's going to start on their past producing projects that were in high grade areas. I like the sounds of that and that they got the cash to do it. So keep an eye on BMK. They're a real cheap one. What do they got? Less than this 10 million, around a 10 million valuation. So any good results from that, those new drilling, and I think we could see a higher valuation.
Okay, next one up, GoGold. Some more solid drill results from the Los Ricos South project. Caught up with CEO Brad Langille for an update.
Well, the press release today, obviously some high-grade intercepts at over a kilo to the ton silver, and more of what we've been seeing release after release after release. We've hit things up to 21 meters of over a kilo in some of our holes. So it speaks to the quality of the target, and we've now drilled about 162 holes, all RC, and we started out with 60 holes. So we're getting a pretty good read on this target, which is the first target of many that we're going to be drilling here in the Los Ricos district. It is a district that's 35 kilometers in length. We are the consolidator. We got in there a little over a year ago, and we started consolidating, started down at Los Ricos South there first, and that's why we started down there with our drill program. We were up to 6 rigs before we stopped drilling due to the COVID-19 and the Mexican government imposed shutdown. But we're getting pretty close on that first target to putting out a resource, and we think it's going to be a significant size, and we think it's going to be a real good grade.
Back drilling in 2 weeks, I see. You've been putting out a bunch of solid news lately, hence why you're on the program. Talk about getting back to work.
Yeah, we're going to be drilling again in the next 2 weeks, probably sooner than that. Really, they have now lifted the restriction on us drilling down there. So it's right away, we're going to just start mobilizing people and get ready to go again. So we should have the drills spinning within 2 weeks or even sooner, probably within about a week. And then we'll be sending more core off to the lab and more results and finishing up that resource at this first target, which is the Los Ricos South target. But as exciting as that is, and I think it's going to be, it'll probably be a resource, approaching 70 or probably be around, that 60 plus million silver equivalent ounces. And we'd hope it would be a grade, north of a couple 100 grams silver. But we have to do the work. We have to take all the data that we've accumulated, and we'll go to our third party and we'll get that resource done up and get that 43-101. But the other thing that's really exciting is that we're moving now some rigs up to Los Ricos North. And really, Los Ricos North, my guys, my technical guys who've been working with me and all the companies that I've operated over the last 24 years, they really think Los Ricos North, as far as the potential, could be even bigger than what we've been drilling off for the last year. And really, we held off on going up there because we were still trying to get 5 important claims for us up there, and we secured those 2 months ago. And they came with 50 plus drill holes, and we're going back in there, and we're going to be drilling where those 50 holes are and moving out from there. And we think we're going to rack up all kinds of ounces up there as well. It's just a really, really exciting district. And like I mentioned, we are the consolidators, and that's what we've been doing. We did that back in 1999 in a district called Ocampo. That was our first, and we built 2 mines there, and we drilled thousands of drill holes, and it was a mine that produced about 250,000 ounces, and it was sold to Carlos Slim for $750 million US. So since then, I would have to say, in my opinion, this is the best ground I've had in Mexico. It is really, I see that kind of potential that we had back in the Ocampo days, and we're really excited to get at it. And hey, we have 20 years of experience under our belts now as well. So we just want to get up there. We're going to be up there drilling and putting resources in the ledger and moving this thing ahead towards a mine.
We all know how important cash is. Your success in this business, Brad, fuel to drive the exploration. Talk about the financial health of GoGold.
The company is well capitalized. We have over 19 million US in the bank. We have receivables from the Mexican government of about 11 million US, no debt. And last quarter, we generated, after paying all our G&A, we generated over 1.9 million of free cash, which covered almost all the exploration that we're doing.
Appreciate that update. Brad Langille, CEO, GoGold, and caught up with Allan Barry of the Allan Barry Reports. Okay, Al, you heard those comments from Brad there at GoGold. Those guys just seem to keep putting out good numbers.
They do, and they have a team that built a winner in the past. It was, I think, about almost 20 years ago, but nonetheless, you've got a good team here that's done it before. They found stuff. What popped my attention is that they had 3.2 meters of over a kilo per ton of silver equivalent at their Los Ricos. If that doesn't get people's attention, I don't know what will. There's a lot of silver there, and they keep on intersecting a lot of that high-grade silver, and with nice thick intersections. So that's not a foot of super high grade. It's you're looking at 3-4 meters. That's definitely mining widths with those kind of grades. They're moving to a resource. Again, could be early. I think a lot of juniors fall into this thing where they want to rush to get to a resource because they feel like they can then go around and say, well, we got to have 50 million, 60 million ounces of silver here. Yeah, but you got to drill a lot more. You got to see if it all hangs together. You got to drill to the limit. Sometimes putting a resource on a project kind of puts a cap on people's imagination for a company, but these guys know what they're doing. 60, 70 million ounces of high grade would be pretty nice looking. Plus, they've got lots of exploration potential around on the project. So, they're looking for high grade silver. These aren't easy to find. They have 222 million shares out, trading at about 73 cents. You don't get that kind of valuation with nothing. And these guys got some nice, super high-grade stuff, silver focus. They're not easy to come across. And so keep an eye on GoGold. Again, not a tight little share structure. So watch for opportunities on pullbacks and when catalysts are near, and you could have a nice action on the stock in those kind of time frames.
Next one up, Eagle plans to commence diamond drilling on their Vulcan silver lead zinc project in southeastern BC. Caught up with CEO Tim Termuende. He laid out the game plan.
Okay, yeah, it's actually for me it's a 30-year project in the making. I first worked on a part of that property in 1991. Back when we were doing some drilling, I was a junior geologist. It was a Cominco project then under option to Ascot. 10 years later, some of the claims lapsed and Eagle Plains started acquiring properties in the area. And over the next 15 years, we were able to basically consolidate the entire package that I've had my eye on for a number of years. The target there is a Sullivan type deposit. It's a SEDEX deposit with basically seafloor. Black smokers, mineralized fluids came out and laid down on the seafloor. The Sullivan is very unique, and it's probably, I'm sure it's the largest deposit in BC, one of the biggest deposits in Canada, and for 60 years was the biggest deposit in the world as a mine. It ran for over 100 years, continuous production, and had 400 or 500 employees all the way along. So the value of a Sullivan deposit can't be understated or can't be overstated. I mean, right now, the combined value, in-ground value of the Sullivan deposit is about $40 billion with a B. It's basically a silver, lead, zinc deposit. The Sullivan was 180 million tons. Now, we're going after that target. That's our goal. That's our hope. It's exploration. Everything's a long shot, but we feel very confident that there's something metallic down there at about 400 meters depth. From the work we've done over the years, it looks like that whatever that conductor is sitting at about the same time horizon as the Sullivan deposit. It's about 1.4 billion years old, and that's roughly the time horizon we're shooting for. There's been geophysics over the years. A few surveys have covered this area. What really turned the light bulb on was a survey we did last year, Eagle Plains funded, magnetotellurics and induced polarization survey. And both those surveys were done concurrently, and both showed a conductive body at about 350 to 400 meters depth. And so it's that conductive body that we're drilling. We've decided, to break the model of Eagle Plains farming out our projects all the time, primarily because the risk reward of this project is very unique. The drill site is right along the road. It's close to Kimberley. So this is a very relatively cheap shot for an exploration company to take. And the size of the target makes this risk-reward equation very, very favorable. So we're giving it a shot. We're crossing our fingers. There's absolutely no promises in this business, but we like the target enough to run it ourselves.
Appreciate that update from Tim Termuende, CEO, Eagle Plains. Certainly look forward to checking back in when those guys get rolling. Next one up here, Red Pine Exploration also hit the mark with a new discovery at the Wawa Gold Project in Ontario and ran through the highlights with President Mia Boiridy.
So the Wawa Gold Project is a project we've been working on since late 2014, and our aim has been over the past 5 years to really show that there was high-grade mineralization there. Previous owners had shown that there was a low-grade resource, and there was already an established kind of 43-101 on the property when we took over, but it was low-grade, open pit with a huge strip ratio. So early on, we recognized that there had been some historical mines. There's 8 past producing mines on the land package that operated in the early 1900s. So they were kind of rural kind of operations, didn't contribute and didn't pull out much, but did pull out 120,000 ounces at an average grade of 9 grams per ton. So we knew that there had to be some high-grade mineralization there. So early on, we kind of went in and kind of did some confirmation drilling to try and make sure that there was still that high-grade mineralization there, and of course there was. And then we really started kind of focusing on this Soluga deposit. And last summer, we reissued a new resource. So now we sit at about 700,000 ounces at more than 5 grams per ton. But that resource, 95% of it was between surface and 350 meters depth. So since last summer, the focus has really been on proving that this thing continues at depth. And that's why these latest results are super exciting, because we have shown that, 350 meters down plunge from the existing resource, we're still hitting pretty good grades. And so the focus is going to be in 2020 on continuing to expand the known resource, going further afield and deeper. And also we've identified 6 other kind of exploration targets on the property, and that's going to be part of the focus as well. So we just had a news release last week that we're saying we're restarting kind of exploration. Part of the focus is also going to be around the Darwin Grace mine and the Minto Mine South mine, where we had really good intersections in 2018, and we're doing some trenching now. And the thought is, keep on building the resource and keep on adding gold in the ground in Walla.
So what are our next steps here, Mia? Are we hung up by COVID at all, or is all systems go?
Yeah, no, it's all systems go. So our team is back in the field, and I've been there now for about 10 days. So we started doing kind of field exploration program. Drilling is going to restart in a couple of weeks. So we're doing IP as well. So that's going to help kind of direct where the next drilling targets are going to be. But we're well funded. We did a raise in December. Alamos Gold came in as a strategic partner. So, of course, they're our closest neighbor as well with their Island Gold Mine. So they're heavily involved now, fully diluted. They're about 19% ownership of Red Pine. And of course, they're trying to, kind of suss out things that is in their neighborhood. And of course, Island Gold has been doing super well and have super high grades as well and is getting better with depth. So we're hoping that we're in the same kind of situation. So the thought is, just keep on drilling, keep on expanding the resource. And that's really going to be the focus of this year.
Appreciate that update from President Mia Boiridy. Look forward to checking back in when Red Pine has some more news to report. Then caught up with Allan Barry, the Allan Barry Reports. Here was his breakdown of the news.
Yeah, Red Pine has a high-grade gold project. I'm always a big fan of high-grade gold projects, and what did they announce? They got 8 past producers on their project. They produced 850,000 ounces. That they're using rudimentary mining operations, so that's a key reason why the production could be down. It was 7 grams was the average grade. They're going below the 300. Their new drilling, this drilling that they announced is going below the 300-meter resource. And now they're going underneath that, and they have other targets. In addition to going underneath, they have other regional targets on the project. Like the numbers, again, you got to watch 477 million shares out, so it's a highly diluted stock. So you want to watch closely for catalysts when they start drilling, and especially, if you can get it in a lull between drilling and assays, maybe that's when you want to take a look at something like a Red Pine. But again, that's a lot of stock out, but it's a good project. See where it goes.
Okay, appreciate that breakdown. That's it for this week's show. If you're a fan of the information, please subscribe to the channel, share the broadcasts. And again, if you haven't, please look at the StockPulse platform, where we're tracking the pulse of the financial equities markets, providing investors with the tools, filters, features, and analysis to navigate these markets and assist in their investment decision. Back next week with more equity news and commentary. Hopefully keep you ahead of these volatile markets.